And what's up everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about how to sound a little bit more cool in 3 simple, kind of easy steps, but these steps and these concepts that I want to talk to you about, I think are useful for both the beginner and the more advanced player, okay? So stick around with me if you're interested in this stuff. Guitar is hard, guys. That's just the way it is. So if we can take some, let's say, shortcuts, okay, to improve our playing like in an easier way, I think it's just like, you know, why not? So let's try to introduce these concepts, okay? Just if you want to know, I'm playing my Sur Modern Terra with my Mesa Boogie Mark III, old Mark III, like a green stripe, and if you like this tone, I think you can find the Tone X and the Quad Cortex captures of it. Sorry, maybe just the Quad Cortex. Anyway, it's linked down below in the description. However, let's go back to this concept. So the concept that I want to talk to you about is how to visualize things over the neck in a diagonal way. What do I mean by that? We can say that horizontal is just like playing on a single string, for example, like okay, like this way, and vertical would be, for example, you know, okay, this way. It was a little bit diagonal, but you know what I mean. Diagonal way seems like to be harder, but in reality it's kind of easier because of the geometry of the guitar. Be aware that the guitar is kind of a, you know, geometric instrument, and this can be a trap as well. But if you don't abuse this stuff, I think you're fine. Let's start choosing just 4 notes, okay? This is the first step. Just 4 notes, for example, G, A, C, and D, okay? So these are 4 notes of the A minor pentatonic scale, and you maybe are used to see the pentatonic this way, okay? But if you go just like behind like 2 frets, okay, you have these 4 notes, so you can do etc, etc, okay? It's I mean, I think you know that. However, for the geometry of the guitar, you can play this, okay, G, A, C, D, and then you will have the same 4 notes but 1 octave higher here, okay, G, A, C, and D. If you need the tabs of what I'm playing, they're available on my Patreon, okay, it's linked down below. And then after, you know, this little block, you can do the same stuff, but here, okay, G, A, C, and D. It's always the same pattern, okay, kind of a little rectangle here, okay? But you have to move in this way, like, and then switch strings and going 2 frets, okay, towards the body of the guitar, and then same thing, but instead of 2 frets, it's 3 frets, okay? So you can see that you can already play a pattern that it's kind of long with just 1 shape, okay? So if we imagine a tempo like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, like, okay, and you can also going backwards, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But okay, this is not really cool because it sounds kind of predictable, I would say. So what can we do in order to make things a little bit spicier? And this is the step 2. We can add a slide. And it's not just because of the slide as a technique, but also because it will introduce a further note that makes our pattern odd number of notes, and that will sound more interesting, especially if we are continuing to play 8 or 16 notes, okay? What do I mean by that? Before we were playing 16 notes, but if the pattern is made of 4 notes, it's kind of predictable, right? So in Italy we would say pomodoro, 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 po. It's like tomato for us. And it's a word that we will use if we want to spell 16 notes, right? So adding a further note, like here, it will make the pattern of 5 notes, okay? So if we imagine the same tempo as before, or pretty much, I can't remember right now, but it was like something like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? It sounds certainly more cool than earlier, right? We can of course do the same stuff descending, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 again, and okay, sounds cooler. Okay, it's better. I mean, it's not rocket science, I know, but you can imagine that you can use this concept, you know, to make more complicated stuff. And now, for example, the third step is like, instead of playing linearly, like just like going from the bottom note to the top note, we can make a little pattern, okay? Maybe just like a super easy thing. For example, this pattern. Okay, so it will be like G, A, C, A, and then again C, D, and then we will use the slide, right? So we will have again, we can connect the dots and just like do the same stuff, right? So as before. So you can imagine the tempo, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? This is better. I'm always trying, you know, to not just like have a faith on my fingers, but trying to sing, okay, the lick that I learned, okay, okay, because it will make our playing more soulful, I guess, more true and less kind of mechanic or geometric, okay? And there's a little thing that you can do further if you want to make things, you know, again, a little bit spicier. And it's like, instead of making always like the pattern, like this one, okay, and then again, We can, for example, use the pattern at the beginning and then going linear. And then maybe the pattern again. So it will be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? Or maybe the reverse, going linear first, then the pattern, and then going linear again. And that will sound something like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? Something like this. Now, of course, this can sound a little bit trivial, maybe. You can, oh, you know, it's not a big of a deal. But if you use this concept, because, you know, I wanted to make this concept available for everyone. And maybe if you're just like playing, you know, basic pentatonic stuff, you can, you know, have kind of ideas now to try to do the same thing with different shapes and different patterns. But also if you are a more advanced player, maybe you're more into technique and stuff like that. For example, you know legatos. You know that you can do this, right? Just like a legato pattern. Okay, like this one, for example, and this is based on the same concept. Okay, I just have to remember, like in a muscular way, the same shape. Okay, so it's easier to play finger-wise, and then I can try, you know, to make some little changes here and there, maybe adding a chromatic. Like this one, make it, we'll play it slow. You know, and then things will start, you know, to move around a little bit, but the concept that you're using, it's always the same. So, you know, it's just like a super basic concept that sometimes I used it, you know, in solos and stuff like that, and I found it useful, so I wanted to share it. And again, if you want to subscribe to the channel, it will be really appreciated. And if you need the tabs of what I've played today, you will find those, you know, on my Patreon. It's linked down below. There are also other stuff, interesting stuff, maybe you can dig. Yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. Just a quick lesson. Thanks a lot for, you know, watching this video, and see you next time. Ciao!